Hello everyone and welcome to this NCFE provider recorded session on creating and editing. So the objective of the session is to explore strategies for teaching and assessing the creating and editing sections of the essential digital skills and digital functional skills qualifications. So the content that we'll be looking at is the assessment structure, then we'll look at entry level 3, level 1, formative assessment and a summary at the end.
So we'll take a look at the assessment structure first. Now, Essential Digital Skills is based on the National Standards for Essential Digital Skills, which is hyperlinked on this slide. Digital Functional Skills is based on the Digital Functional Skills Qualifications Subject Content document, which does have a very firm foundation in the National Standards for Essential Digital Skills document. So you'll find that the content for both sets of the qualifications is very similar.
So here we have the weightings for the Essential Digital Skills Entry Level 3 assessment. So for this, the editing is the third content area and has significantly higher weighting in the assessment than the other content areas. There will only be one question in the first section worth 1 mark, and the remaining marks will come from the tasks in the second section. Here we have the weightings for the Digital Functional Skills Entry Level 3 assessment. So for this, the creating and editing is the second content area and has the second highest weighting in the assessment after the using devices and handling information unit. There may be one question in the first section worth 1 mark, and the remaining marks will come from the tasks in the second section. Next, we have the weightings of the Essential Digital Skills at Level 1 assessment. So at Level 1, the Essential Digital Skills creating and editing has even more significantly higher weighting in the assessment than the other content areas. There will be no questions in the first section, and all marks will come from the tasks in the second section. And for the Digital Functional Skills at Level 1, creating and editing has the highest weighting of all the content areas in the assessment. There will be no questions in the first section, and all marks will come from the tasks in the second section.
We'll start off by looking at the entry level 3 content. On this slide, we've got the content taken from the qualification specification laid out side by side. So we have essential digital skills on the left and digital functional skills here on the right. Although the mandatory content is laid out differently between the qualifications, you'll see that the same content is covered. By all means, you can pause this recording to read through the full content as you wish. But for now, we'll just have a little think about some teaching ideas for this particular content area. So perhaps you could create an invitation to a course induction party. You would need to work through step by step how to create the invitation. You could do this either face-to-face or using screen share, and then learners could use their own ideas for font and graphics depending on the instructions that you give. And here we have the content for creating and editing digital media. So again, we've got the essential digital skills on the left and digital functional skills on the right. A difference that you may notice is that sound must be covered in essential digital skills, while it is not covered in digital functional skills. Some teaching ideas for this particular topic. You could show how to use a phone to take photos if your learners don't already know. You could make audio and film recordings and upload them to a computer. You might want to set a task where your learners show points of interest on a local walk. They could take photos, record audio, make a short video that they could send to their teacher, yourself, or present it to the class to show the highlights of their local area. In the live session, we asked our teachers who were present, who taught a combination of digital functional skills and essential digital skills, some of them doing just one of the qualifications, some of them doing both of the qualifications. And we asked them, how do you or could you teach this content in an engaging way? You can stop this recording if you would like and make your own notes. What do you do? What could you do to teach the content in an engaging way? And I'll show you what our attendees at the live session came up with now. So it was actually really good in the live session because we had a combination of attendees, some of whom taught young school age learners, others taught learners who were actually much older, sort of in their 60s and 70s. So the range of ideas was quite different. So when it came to, how could you teach this in an engaging way, we put all of the content on the Jamboard, and then the attendees used sticky notes to put some ideas. So we've got creating an invitation for a school prom, and then over here creating the poster for advertising the prom, and then the tickets. We also mentioned about needing to do an initial assessment first, see where your learners currently are. Do they have any creating and editing skills already, or are they doing this for the very first time? Some of our attendees who have older learners suggested that what they actually do is they get their learners to create a poster to advertise essential digital skills to other learners, which is a brilliant idea actually, particularly for getting other learners engaged with the qualification, because the learners that you have are certainly going to know what's going to appeal to the other types of learners who are similar to those learners. So similar over here, poster for advertising the course that the students create. We also had this idea to create a poster that advertised their business. So you might have adult learners who have, are in work currently, so they could create a poster that advertises their own work or job. Or for those who have more older learners who are no longer in work, perhaps they're retired, then they could create a poster that advertises the business or the workplace or the job that they previously had. So a good range of ideas, but for the most part, it was discussed that explicit teaching, showing learners what they need to do before setting them tasks is a good idea. We'll take a look at level 1 now.
So for the level 1 creating and editing documents, this is part of the content. Digital functional skills lays out more explicitly the type of communication styles that the learner should be familiar with, such as audience and purpose. Therefore, you could link this to functional skills English if the learners are also taking this as well. So teaching ideas could be to physically create a document. You could screen share while demonstrating the steps. The task could be to create a document that has key facts about themselves or even a CV. This can be where some photographs can be inserted to meet the next learning outcomes as well. So you could combine those. So here we have the content for editing and enhancing digital media. You can pause the recording if you would like to read the slide in full. So for editing and enhancing digital media, teaching ideas could include use a camera, and you could do this, you could combine this with the element of sending to the tutor, as I mentioned earlier, in an email to themselves. A task could be to take a photograph of things that you enjoy doing, like a photograph challenge. So it could be things such as your favorite food in your fridge, as many colors of the rainbow, an animal or wildlife, something that they enjoy or are proud of. So next we'll have the content for processing numerical data. Again, you can pause the recording if you'd like to read the slide in full. You will notice that although the content is laid out differently and the digital functional skills is more explicit, what needs to be covered in both qualifications is the same. So some teaching ideas for processing numerical data could be to physically create a spreadsheet. You could screen share this with the learners while you're demonstrating the steps. You could use a spreadsheet to work out the cost of a recipe, something simple like pancakes. Since when we did the live session, it was Shrove Tuesday. You could also copy the spreadsheet and use it to enter data from different supermarkets and make calculations to compare them. You could extend the pancake recipe by comparing different supermarkets to buy the ingredients and plotting charts and then the total price at different supermarkets, or creating a pie chart to show the proportional costs of different ingredients at the lowest price supermarket. So next we have another activity, and this one was to look at how you could teach the processing numerical data content in an engaging way. So here are some of the ideas from the live session. Some of these include creating graphs and charts of popular films and books, mobile phones, so different models and prices, the number of sales that they have each month, prices of trainers and models with their price in the shops where they purchased them. And again, creating their own spreadsheets using their areas of interest, for example, football scores, home budgeting.
Okay, we'll take a look at formative assessment now. Many of our centres have said to us that they need more tasks, more past papers that show some tasks for creating and editing. So we're going to look at some formative assessment now. So we're giving you some ideas for how you can create your own formative assessments. Now, on this slide, we have a range of formative assessment strategies, some of which you may not think of using for a digital course. You can pause the recording and have a think for yourself. Which of these do you use? Which of these have you not considered using? The attendees at the live session said they used Kahoot a lot, and Patricia explains the use of Plickers. If you're not familiar with Plickers, it's really good, particularly in a classroom environment. It allows your learners to have a QR code on a piece of paper, and depending on which way up they hold it, they can show an answer to a multiple choice question, with A at the top, B and C, D, etc. And very, very quickly, you can scan the whole room with your phone and you'll collect everybody's answers. And because your learners, if they keep their own QR code over time, you can actually track their progress because all of the answers will be saved. So there's other ideas on there as well. Now we've got an example here of one of the multiple choice questions from Essential Digital Skills. So which one of these file types would be used to store sound? And remember, this would not be covered in digital functional skills, but we've got the answer selected here. So it would be a WAV file. Another activity that we then did was to look at creating some multiple choice questions that could be used as part of your formative assessment. And here you can see the Jamboard that we used in the live session and some of the ideas that the attendees came up with. So it's quite quick and easy to come up with looking at the subject content and coming up with some ideas for some multiple choice questions. On this slide, we have examples of tasks from the sample papers. Here we've got an Essential Digital Skills question from entry level, section B. We can see the context is around selling a mobile phone, while over here, the context that we've got is preparing a training day at work for a manager. The instructions themselves are very similar in what the learners actually need to do. So they need to download a document and follow the instructions to edit the document and then upload it afterwards. Please be aware that if you are doing digital functional skills, you will need to download pre-release materials from our website, and also your learners will need to be able to upload the evidence in a zip file. So please make sure that you've gone to, if you're doing digital functional skills, that you've gone to our website and you've taken a look at the web page for the pre-release materials and guidance. These level 1 questions relate to creating and editing documents and editing and enhancing an image. For digital functional skills, the context here is that it's an environmental group's newsletter, and they need to format the document as follows. And over here, the context is a flyer for adopting a dog. And again, learners have the instructions that they need to follow. These level 1 tasks relate to processing numerical data. The context for digital functional skills is sales information for an estate agent, while for essential digital skills, the context is costs associated with owning a dog. Now, you will see that the instructions that they have to do cover an awful lot of the content from the processing numerical data part of this content area. But not every part will be covered in a single paper. However, over a number of iterations of the papers for essential digital skills and digital functional skills, we must ensure that all content is covered. So if you look at our sample papers, please don't ever believe that that is the only content that needs to be covered. You do need to cover everything that is in the qualification specifications. And again, in the live session, we went to breakout rooms and we looked at some of the sample tasks and considered using those to create new tasks simply by altering the context and the instructions. If you'd like to do this for yourself, there is a link here that you can copy into your browser if you've got a lot of patience, because it's quite a long copy. And if you do that, it will take you to here. So it will take you to this activity. And if you open this document, creating and editing tasks, you'll see that we have copied some of the sample questions. And when you open this, you'll only have permission to view this file, so you can make a copy for yourself, which you can then edit if you so wish. The other documents in that folder are simply the documents that in a Word document I was able to insert the object, so what they had to download, for example, here and later on here. But when I transferred it into Google Docs, it didn't allow me to be able to hyperlink into the actual document. So the different uploads, the downloads, sorry, that the learners had to use for the tasks are in this folder if you like to see them, or you can look at them for yourself from the sample materials. But our attendees had a nice little bit of time changing some of these tasks. And I know the one I quite liked, there was for this task here, we've got an environmental group and they're submitting an article to a newsletter and formatting it, etc. Whereas in the group, the attendee actually changed this to an amateur dramatics group, and they were editing and changing a document which involved publicising a Shrek the Musical production that they were going to be doing. So by all means, think about what your learners enjoy, think about what would interest them, and if you would like to, you can access this particular document and edit it, or you can simply come up with your own tasks from your own blank.
Right, so moving on to the summary. So creating and editing is the highest weighted topic at level 1 for both qualifications, so both for the digital functional skills and the essential skills. At entry level 3, it is the highest weighted for the essential digital skills. Explicit instructions and demonstrations help with skill development. You can relate your learning to your learners' lives and vocational subjects to help with engagement. And you can use sample assessment materials as a guide to creating your own format of assessments and questions and tasks.
You'll find everything related to the digital qualifications on the delivery support pages for each qualifications linked here. So you've got the essential digital skills delivery support here, where you can find quick links to the actual qualifications, information about awarding. There's information on our skills assessment tools, our best practice network, and then lower down you will find all of our training and events. And on the digital functional skills delivery support page, there is a useful link at the side, and this is where you'll find the pre-release files and guidance. So please make sure if you're doing digital functional skills that you do access the pre-release files and guidance. Your learners will need the pre-release files in live assessments, and you can actually use the pre-release files as part of your teaching and delivery. There is nothing in the pre-release files that is going to give away the content of the assessments. So the pre-release files is publicly available. You can certainly use the pre-release files with your learners. Make sure that they know where to find those pre-release files on their devices. And again, you've got quick links to the qualification information. You've got quick links to the online sample assessments. Later down the page, you've got our training and events, and you will notice that the training and events for digital functional skills are the same as for essential digital skills.
Here's the key contacts on this slide. So you've got myself and Charmaine, who can support with the planning, delivery and preparation for your assessments. You can also speak with your accounts manager to discuss additional products, pricing and resources. And customer support will support you with specific learner queries on the portal and Surpass. So thank you very much for your time today, and I hope you found this session helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.